For wholesomeness of air, fruitfulness of lands, great store of corn, abundance of pasture, and numerousness of cattle, few countries may be compared with Ireland, and none preferred.
Throughout the centuries, visitors have praised the richness of the Irish soil. It has always been our greatest wealth, our chief and vital source of livelihood, the raw material on which our well-being finally depends. Yet the soil has always been an exacting mistress. The average Irish farm is small, about 30 to 40 acres, and the usual practice is to engage in mixed farming. This means a lot of hard work if the farmer is to get the best out of his land, and especially for those who have not yet become mechanized. Certain jobs, such as planting potatoes, demand an increased labor force, and there is work for the whole family. And the crops need care during growth. They must be fortified against the attacks of a variety of pests and diseases. Harvest time brings a good yield if the weather is kind. If not, the farmer may find that he has little or no return for his labor and outlay. Either way, it means plenty of work before the crop is saved. The care of farm stock is a big job in itself. They must be fed, their quarters kept clean, and their general well-being closely watched. Apart from the regular round of duties, there are always odd jobs waiting to be done, and the good farmer can turn his hand to a number of trades. His wife is kept busy too, and has all sorts of duties beyond those of the ordinary housewife. There's food to be cooked for the animals, butter to be made, poultry to care for. The womenfolk play an important part in farm life. Country shopkeepers know all about the farm wife's turkey money and its influence on trade at Christmas. Now and again, there's a game of treasure hunt to be played with the hens when they decide on a savings campaign and put aside a little nest egg just for themselves. Oh well, no use brooding. After all, there's lots more where that one came from. Sometimes also there's a bit of nursing to be done, when some new arrival fails perhaps to ingratiate itself with its parent. It's a hard life, and a hard life too for the farmer and his wife. Yet the nation's prosperity depends on good farming. Nearly 2/3 of our working population get their living from the land. As the chief providers of the nation's wealth, they deserve to enjoy the domestic comforts common to the people of the towns. It was with this in view, together with the aim of helping to increase production on Irish farms, that the Rural Electrification Scheme was begun in 1946. It was planned to extend the existing network, sending new lines of cable, like veins from the main arteries, into the large but sparsely populated districts outside the cities and towns. Before the layout can be planned for any particular area, it's essential to know who wishes to take supply. For most, it's a long-cherished wish, and some are found waiting with their houses already wired.
Won't you sit down? I've always wanted it. I thought we'd never get it. I've a married sister in the town, and she's had electricity in the house ever since she got married, and I've always envied her. No oil lamps to worry about, no wicks to be trimmed or cans of oil to be bought, and the radio too. No batteries to run down and spoil everything for you just when there's something special that you'd like to hear. Where do I sign?
But of course, there are others who tend to be more cautious.
I wouldn't mind paying according to the amount of electricity I use. That's fair enough. But I don't see why I should be asked to pay a steady rent on top of that.
It's not a rent, you know. It's an annual charge.
Whatever you call it, it has to be paid, hasn't it?
Oh, it has, yes. Just like the rates you pay on the road.
The rates?
Yes, the roads were built to serve the whole locality. Everyone must pay rates for them, whether they use them or not. It's the same for the electricity network. In the first place, it costs a lot of money to build them, and then it has to be kept in good repair. That's why everyone who takes supply is asked to pay an annual charge. The charge for the units is only sufficient to cover the cost of generating the current.
Maybe so. I suppose you get very little for nothing. But I don't know. It's a big handful of money to pay all the same.
I wouldn't have a thing like that in the house. Sure, I'd never feel safe in my bed at night.
When all the residents in the new area have been canvassed and the number of prospective consumers is known, the information is passed to the district office. Plans are then drawn up for the most economic layout of the network in accordance with the relative locations of the various houses to be given supply. Once the area is selected, a survey must be made. When this is complete, the business of building the network is soon underway. The nature of the terrain varies a good deal in Ireland, and some of the areas are harder to conquer than others. There are nearly 800 areas in all. The majority of them have now been dealt with, and further expansion of these rural networks has already been carried out in response to increasing demand. When the network is complete in the new area and the houses have been wired and connected up, the switch-on ceremony takes place.
And now, I think I have kept you long enough. I'll do the important point now and give you some light on the subject. I hope that I haven't kept you too long, and by simply putting my hand on the ticker here, I'd give electricity to the countryside. Now here I am doing it for you all.
Later, there's a little celebration. After the switch on, the demonstrators arrive.
Which is composed of a quartz and concrete mixture. The average life of these stones is approximately 10-12 years. The surface is...
Now I have lowered the oven to 400 degrees and the complete meal will take an hour and a half to cook. This means that once I set the temperature at the 400, it will remain at that temperature all the time I'm cooking unless I alter it. Also, when
A better and easier way of life is at last possible, and few of these women need to be reminded of the more obvious advantages of having electrical supply. There's a quick demand for electric irons and electric kettles in particular. By this time, some of those who refused at first have changed their minds and decided to give it a try.
I suppose there's something to be said for it all the same. You know, it's as good as a new pair of glasses to have a light like that in the house.
For this relief, much thanks. Farming is a down-to-earth business, and mud, as they say, sticks. But the exhausting hours at the scrubbing board can now give place to a brief session with the washing machine. More slowly, electrical supply encourages other, more revolutionary changes. The electric pump brings running water to the most isolated dwellings, making it possible for the country folk to enjoy the benefits of modern sanitation. Reckoned in weight, the amount of water used on a 50-acre farm amounts to almost 500 tons per year. There's a lot of carrying in 500 tons and a lot of time wasted. The saving in labor alone makes the electric pump a good investment. But a plentiful supply of water will actually provide a big increase in production among livestock. Cattle that are ordinarily watered only once a day will drink a great deal more if the water is continuously available. The extra water consumption gives a sizable increase in weight for beef cattle and a consequent saving in feeding stuff. Dairy cattle will provide a bigger milk yield without any danger of loss in the quality of the milk. Pigs and poultry will also take to heavy drinking given half a chance and improve their output considerably as a result. To help the farmer reap the benefits of a plentiful water supply, the state offers him a grant towards the cost of installing a pipe system and has sanctioned the use of plastic piping. With the aid of either deep trenching or a mole plough, this can be laid very quickly and economically. Of all the benefits that electricity can bring to Irish farms, the electric pump is the most important. The milk that was bewitched and wouldn't turn to butter was always a favourite among the old tales of the country folk. Now a new magic has appeared. Milk that is churned or separated by an invisible power, a good fairy who can be summoned at the turn of a switch. In the rearing of poultry, the infrared lamp replaces the broody hen as foster mother. It provides the chicks with steady heat at the right temperature, while at the same time permitting them freedom for healthy exercise. During the winter months, artificial light keeps the hens hard at work, cheerfully maintaining their laying averages at the high summer level. The infrared lamp also plays a useful role in the rearing of pigs, which grow and fatten a good deal quicker in warm and comfortable surroundings. Electric light enables the farmer himself to prolong his working day. After a spell in the fields, he can get on with other jobs in the evening in and around the farmyard. Good lighting makes it a little easier to cope with a sick animal or to welcome a new arrival. Combine harvesting, and especially after a wet season, gives rise to the problem of grain drying. Where cereals are no longer stacked for drying in the fields, the quickly harvested grain contains a good deal of moisture. This wet cereal will need to be carefully dried out soon after the bags of grain have been carried home to the farm. A simple method has been found in the use of an electric dryer, which sends a current of air from beneath a perforated floor on which the grain is spread. The excess moisture is carried away and the grain is left in a fit condition for storing for the farmer's own use or for marketing whenever he chooses. The electrically powered auger elevator provides a useful means of handling the grain, saving endless time and labor in shifting it from place to place. The elevator can do the work of a number of men and is entirely immune to the hazards of a torn muscle or a slipped disc. A further step towards self-sufficiency on the farm is provided by the electrically powered grain grinder, which enables the farmer to do his own grinding on the spot as fresh meal is required. A portable electric motor can do a variety of jobs around the farmyard, leaving the farmer free to devote his time and intelligence to more skillful work. The care of an electrically powered fruit pulper, for example, can be left in the hands of the small fry. The electric food cooker is another good labor saver, doing away with the business of lighting a fire and standing by to keep it going when preparing animal feed. A cooker of this kind is designed to do its job in a given number of hours. It can be sealed off and left to look after itself while the food is cooking. When the food is ready, the water is easily poured off by means of the tilting lever attached to the side of the cooker, and dinner is served. As field work becomes more and more mechanized, a greater degree of time and skill is needed for maintenance and repair. Expensive machinery can become a heavy liability if it's not kept in good condition. At certain times, the delay of even a day or two waiting for spare parts could result in serious loss. So it's important for the farmer himself to know something about repairs in case of emergency. At technical schools and agricultural colleges, young farmers learn the use of modern, electrically powered tools. The electric welder is a particularly useful item of equipment. It can be used for the making of gates and other kinds of metalwork, as well as for a wide range of quick repair jobs. The man who employs machinery is usually the best judge of its suitability for the particular job to be done. The electric welder enables the more inventively minded farmer to adapt or even to build special pieces of machinery to his own requirements. In a world of rising prices, the most urgent need in Ireland today is to increase production to pay for the goods we need from abroad. In our case, this increase must come mainly from the land. Already, rural electrification has placed many farmers in a better position to meet this need. It's helping them to secure the domestic comforts that will make life a bit easier. It's helping them to use machinery in place of human muscle and sweat for many of the jobs to be done. It's helping them to achieve that greater efficiency on which a higher output and the welfare of the whole nation so urgently depends.